is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على نبيه ومصطفاه وبعد. My dear viewers everywhere, welcome to another live edition of your program Ask Huda. In another blessed day of the month of Ramadan, our contact informations, phone numbers area code 002, then 0238555132. Alternatively, area code 002, then 0100-546-9323, and the Facebook page is the Muhammad Salah official. The first question is from Ali Habiba. Let's take a few calls first. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Amber from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, Amber.
Wa alaikum salam, Sheikh. How are you?
Doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for
Sheikh,
asking.
I have three questions.
Please.
First one, in our salah, do we have to read the surahs in the order they appear in the Mus'haf? Like, say, Surah Falaq and then Surah Nas, or can I say the surahs in any order? Like in the first rakah, I'm saying Surah Kahf, and in the second rakah, I'm saying Surah any other surah before Surah Kahf.
Okay. Yes,
And,
it is. Go ahead.
My second question is, how can I make up my missed fast starting from the first day of the puberty? Like, fasting becomes obligatory upon you, and I have missed many. So, like, I'm trying to do the voluntary fasting, and does that compensate for the missed fasting, or do I have to do that all separately, or can I do the fidya, feed the poor, like that?
Okay.
And third is, I want to know about this dua that I read it somewhere, and it says that you should read it in every situation. Allahumma inni as'aluka imanan kamilan wa yaqinan sadiqan wa rizq. It goes on like that. Quite a few more.
Okay.
Yeah. About the authenticity of this dua, is it like one of the prescribed duas or what? And like that.
All right.
That's all. Thank you. Jazakallah
You're
khair.
most welcome, Sister Amber from the KSA. Sister Aziza from Qatar.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Ask Huda.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking.
Alhamdulillah. Welcome. I have a couple of questions, but actually there's a lot of questions. Sorry for having a lot of questions. The first question regarding, if you still remember that yesterday I was asking about the witr prayer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to ask again because I'm not really fully understand about the explanation. My doubt is it permissible if someone still pray any nafila prayer when you at home except witr prayer after you have performed the witr prayer in the masjid during the Tarawih? And the second question for the Musafir is in the authentic Sunnah, Prophet used to pray only witr prayer or before Fajr prayer for their during his Musafir. But my question is, for example, like I'm from Malaysia, but I live in Qatar. So during my travel to Malaysia, when I reach my mom's house, can I perform a complete or tamam prayer, or can I lead the prayer, or can I perform any nafila prayer except then these two sunnah prayer? And about the zakah, the third question, can someone pay the zakah directly to the beneficiaries? For example, if they are eligible to, for example, to the family members, or should he go to the appointed collectors?
Well, I didn't quite get the third question, Aziza. If you can repeat the third question, I'll appreciate that.
Okay, it's about the zakah. can someone pay the zakah directly to the beneficiary, for example, the one eligible to, for example, any of the family members, for the masakin, for example, poor, they are needy people, or should he go to the appointed collector to pay the zakah? And the fourth question is, what is the ruling on looking or holding a mushaf during the prayer? And the next question is, can someone pray only the witr only one rak'ah due to the constraint? And the next question, when should one perform sujood shahwi, after or before taslim? And my last final question, alhamdulillah. Sorry for having so many doubts.
I didn't get your previous question. The sixth question, you said what, before or after the taslim?
Okay, this one is like, for example, this one, when you should, one should perform the forgetfulness prostration, is it after taslim or before taslim?
You mean sujood al-sahw?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And the last, inshallah, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khairan for you, Sheikh, and for the team, because I watched you in the series of the How to Pray According to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Only one thing I have doubt about it, about how one should place his finger. I mean, he kept the finger pointing or only when she shahada, or anything when, I mean, like, he will keep the finger pointing till he gives salam, or should he bring back all the finger down just before taslim?
You know, Sister Aziza, I guess we should not take any calls today because your questions would take the whole time, mashallah, to answer. I got 7 of your questions. I will do my best, inshallah, to answer them. Thank you, Sister Aziza. Sister Amber from the KSA, her first question is, reading the chapters in the Quran, does it have to be in the same order? No, it doesn't have to be in the same order. So if you recited in the first rak'ah, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, and then you recited قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ in the second rak'ah, that is permissible. What is restricted is reciting not in a descending order within the rak'ah itself and shoveling the ayat. Her second question is making up the missed fasting since she have reached the age of puberty. And I want to thank you so much for presenting this question. Many of us were not practicing since our youth. Many of us started practicing the deen later. Some used to pray but used not to fast. And they skipped a lot of fasting. In this case, now, alhamdulillah, Allah have guided me, you, or us, and I'm praying regularly, I'm fasting on regular basis, and I'm fasting even voluntary fasting. What am I supposed to do with the missed days since reaching the age of puberty? After these calls, inshallah. Brother Abdullah from the KSA, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah, Sheikh, I have 2 questions. You know, I want to ask is it permissible to say Aqdun Nikah in the day of the month of Ramadan? And second question, you know, we have a lot of poor people in the Muslim society, you know. So it is my question, why we should pay $110 billion
Jazakallah khairan, Abdullah. Thank you.
For buying weekends.
Got your questions.
You know,
Got your questions. Abdullah. I just want to write down your questions. Abdullah, and Abdullah wasn't calling from the KSA, but please remember, lying is a big sin, and especially in Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Farzana.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Sheikh?
Doing fine, alhamdulillah. Thank you for asking, Sister Farzana from the KSA.
No, from India, sir.
From India, MashaAllah. Okay, you're calling all the way from India. Farzana, go ahead. Sister Farzana? I don't have any sound. Sister Farzana, please try again. I'm very interested in taking your questions. Please try again. Mustaqim from Libya. Assalamu alaikum.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. مستقيم. عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Go ahead, please.
نعم.
My dear brother,
Hello.
please mute your TV, please.
Hello.
Lower the volume of your TV or even mute it, that is better. Or move to another room and talk to me from your handset.
All right, sir. Hello.
Yes? Okay, Mustaqim, please try again later on. Sister Farzana from India is back on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My question is, when we are doing dua in sujood, do we have to invoke Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do glorify to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or straight away we can do dua for to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Okay.
This is my question.
Yeah, got your
Yes,
question.
this is one question.
Thank you,
Yeah,
sister.
and one more thing, I heard in the last episode that there's some issues in the signals and all, and inshallah all our viewers, dua is with Huda TV, and inshallah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will definitely help us to take the advantage from Huda TV. Inshallah. Inshallah.
Thank you, Sister Farzana. Barakallah fiki, appreciate it. Okay, so for making up the missed fasting, number one, once a Muslim reaches the age of puberty, fasting becomes obligatory. Before that, practicing is recommended, and you will be rewarded for fasting before reaching the age of puberty. But once the person reaches the age of puberty, then fasting during the month of Ramadan becomes obligatory. Similarly is the prayers and so on. So in this case, you estimate how many days that you skipped fasting during this time, or ever since you reached the age of puberty. And if you think that it is 2 Ramadans, maybe 60 days, 58 days, 59 days, more or less, in a state of fasting, voluntary fasting, you need to make up those days, because they will not be waived simply because there are too many. If a person used to pray, then he's a Muslim, then they must fast. And if he skipped fasting, whether due to a concession or a legitimate reason, or out of negligence or out of laziness, those days must be made up. It isn't sufficient to give the fidya, because Allah the Almighty prescribed the fidya only for those who cannot afford fasting, such as elders who reach senility, such as people with chronic sickness. They live with it and they are not expected to recover or feel better or be able to fast in the future. May Allah make it easy for you. In addition to making tawbah and asking Allah sincerely to grant you and us forgiveness, of course, for our shortcomings, try to make up those days by fasting on Mondays and Thursdays. So this way you will get the virtues of fasting on these days, and meanwhile your intention is the qada, making up those days, not the voluntary fasting. Thank you, Sister Amber from the KSA. We have Sister Aziza from Qatar. She says she's Malaysian and she's visiting for a few days in Qatar. She asked about the witr prayer. Now I can figure out where you're coming from, because in Malaysia, the Malaysian community are mainly Shafi'i. They follow the Shafi'i madhab. So, according to Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, and according to the vast majority of the scholars, it is disliked to pray witr in this format. 3 rak'ahs altogether, and tashahhud after 2 rak'ahs. That is similar to praying Maghrib. And there is a sound hadith in this regard. The Prophet ﷺ said, don't you pray witr like Maghrib. So why do people who are following the Hanafi madhab pray it similar to Maghrib? They say we do not pray it similar to Maghrib because we recite qunut in the witr, in the last rak'ah, and there is no qunut in the Maghrib prayer. In any case, this format is disliked because there is a hadith in this regard. The approved formats of praying witr, either you pray 2 rak'ahs, tashahhud and taslim, then you pray 1 rak'ah by itself, that's witr, or you pray the 3 rak'ahs all together with 1 tashahhud and taslim by the end, and that too is approved. So if you pray witr 1 rak'ah aziza, that is permissible, but according to Imam Abu Hanifa it is not permissible. But aqallul witri, the least number of rak'ahs for witr is 1 rak'ah, and that is valid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Sabir from Kuwait. Sabir. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Naam. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Ask Huda, brother.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Wa alaikum
I
salam.
want to ask you, Sheikh. My question is about zakat. Should I pay zakat if I have more than 2 or 3 flats and I'm renting them?
Okay, so you're asking about paying zakah on a property that you're renting.
Yes, because I have more than 2.
There is no zakah on the rental properties, even if they're worth millions. You pay zakah on the revenue that is generated from the rent, after paying the utilities, expenses, and all of that. So there remains, whether by itself or in addition to other positions that you have, you pay zakah on that. Thank you, Brother Sabr from Kuwait. She said since she's a musafir, she's traveling, and she doesn't have to pray sunnah, and she gets to shorten the prayer. What about the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah for Fajr? The 2 rak'ahs, which are known as Sunnatul Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ said regarding their virtues, they are better than the whole world and what it contains. This is how great, how precious it is to pray the 2 rak'ahs, the Sunnah for Fajr. And out of all the nawafil, all the voluntary prayers, the Prophet ﷺ used to pray the 2 Sunnah before Fajr and the Witr while traveling. So in regular conditions, he was very keen to pray the 2 rak'ahs of Fajr, of the Sunnah before Fajr. And while traveling, you're exempt from praying the nawafil, the emphatic or non-emphatic sunan, before or after the prayers, such as the 4 rak'ahs before Dhuhr and the 2 after Dhuhr, 2 after Maghrib. You're musafir, you're exempt. And that's why you shorten the prayer. You pray Dhuhr, Asr, and Isha, only 2 rak'ahs. And Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, said, لو كنت مسبحا لأتممت. If I'm going to pray the sunnah, then I would rather pray the fard full. But for the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah before Fajr, even if you're traveling, even if you perform an Hajj, and on the day of Tarwiyah, on the day of Arafah, on the day of Eid, or any of the ayam of the Tashriq, where you shorten your prayer and you're constantly moving from one location to another, make certain that you pray the 2 rak'ahs before Fajr and the Witr prayer by the end of the day. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Rahma from Egypt, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, I would like to ask you a question about if it's permissible, if you want to have a child, that you have a doctor help you choose the sex of the child.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Rashima from the KSA, Assalamu alaikum.
I'm asking, I wanted to pay zakah, but for last year I didn't pay. How can I do? Can I wait for next year until next year finish, or I don't know how?
Well, I understood from you, Rashima, that you didn't pay zakah last year, and you're asking.
Yeah, Yeah, I was not confirmed about it.
You missed paying zakah last year, and now you
Yeah.
want to ask about making up the zakah. Okay.
How can I pay for this year and next and last year?
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you. You guys heard me earlier answering Sister Amber about making up the missed days of fasting since the puberty. The zakah will not be waived simply because you did not pay it for years, whether you were negligent or because that you were not practicing. So last year, a few years ago, you were not paying zakah and you have wealth, you still owe this money. You estimate how much you owed last year and the previous years, and you still have to pay them as soon as possible. So you pay the zakah of the last year along with the zakah of this year. The zakah is the wealth. Zakah is the purification of one's wealth, and it is the right of the poor in your wealth. It is not a favor that you will be doing to the recipients. No, it is the right. It is Allah's right and the poor's right in your wealth. Allah the Almighty have warned in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ يَكْنِزُونَ الذَّهَبَ وَالْفِضَّةَ وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَها فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. For those who harbor gold and silver, and they do not spend it for the sake of Allah, they do not pay their due zakah, it will be heated up on the day of judgment, and it will turn into like fire to brand the body of the person who did not pay their zakah, their faces and their backs. May Allah protect us against that. So you better pay the zakah once it is due. Those who postpone their payment for the zakah, they are at a big risk. They're taking a big chance. Please pay the zakah once it is due. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Faisal from the KSA. Assalamu alaikum, brother Faisal.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah. Ramadan Mubarak, ya Sheikh.
Ramadan Mubarak to you and to your family, brother Faisal. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ya Sheikh. I have two questions. The first question is, after the witr of the Taraweeh, can I go, do my tahajjud prayer? That's my first question. Second question is, do I need to say Amin during the dua in the witr?
Any other questions?
And that's it. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, thank you. Sister Aziza, her third question is, paying the zakat to the recipients directly, or do I have to pay it to the authorities and they will take care of its distribution? Every person is responsible for paying their zakah. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, he used to send his workers in order to collect the zakah because he was in charge of distributing the zakah. If somebody pays it on his own, fine. If he has relatives, if he has somebody whom he knows that they are desperately in need, that's fine. If I trust this, whether profit or non-profit organization, authority, or it is an NOG, and I trust them that they are going to distribute my zakah to the proper recipients, they will do it. People say that we're going to send money to the Rohingyas in Burma, and you trust them, do it. We're going to send money to support the refugees on the Syrian Turkish borders, the Syrian refugees, do it, no problem. To our brothers and sisters in Gaza, they need help, do it. And by the way, brothers and sisters, I want you to remember the Palestinian prisoners. They are actually captivated in the Israeli prisons. They're being mistreated, and they are on a hunger strike for so many days now. May Allah help them, may Allah protect them. So include them in your dua at the time of breaking your fast, and may Allah destroy the perpetrators and the enemies of Allah and His deen. Sister Aziza from Nigeria, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
This question is from you or from the baby?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. It's
Wa
from
alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You can give him or her the phone, they will ask.
Ramadan Mubarak, Sheikh.
Ramadan Mubarak to you and to your family, Sister Aziza.
So I want to ask, I missed some fast last Ramadan, and I wasn't able to pay because I was pregnant throughout the year, and now I have the baby, and I still can't, I wasn't able to repay my previous fast. So how do I do it?
Whenever, inshallah, you're able to fast the missed days of the previous Ramadan and the one before. Because as long as, alhamdulillah, you're healthy, so the reason for not fasting is temporary. You cannot resort to the fidya unless if it is something permanent. So, alhamdulillah, you still have a long way to go. May Allah keep you healthy and bless you and your family. So, once you're capable to fast, remember how many days you've missed and start making them up, and it doesn't have to be consecutive. Thank you, Sister Aziza from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Umar from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, my dear brothers and sisters, we're going to take a short break, and inshallah we'll be back in a few minutes for some more. Please stay tuned. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. And I would like to remind you quickly with our phone numbers: area code 002, then 023855132. The other number is same area code, then 010054693323. Mashallah, we have already many questions, but I would still like to take some more of your valuable questions and concerns. Sister Aziza from Qatar asked earlier about looking at the Mus'haf while reading the prayer. Is that permissible? Yes, it is permissible according to the vast majority of the fuqaha, whether you are an imam or praying by yourself. It is worth of mentioning here that Imam Abu Hanifa restricts that, and he says it resembles the people of the book because they do not memorize their book. But because of the practice of the companions, many of them of reading from the Quran while praying, so it is permissible. Now we're talking about the voluntary prayer, like in the Taraweeh and the long prayer. For the Fard, the person should memorize enough surahs to be able to recite in the Fard prayer out of his memory. For the Witr prayer, it is the least number of rak'ahs for witr is 1 rak'ah, and the person can pray them 3, can pray 5, can pray 7, and in case that he is praying more than 1 rak'ah, then as explained earlier, he can pray the 3 rak'ahs all together with 1 tashahhud and taslim by the end, or pray the 2 rak'ahs with tashahhud and taslim, then 1 rak'ah by itself, and tashahhud and taslim separate. The qunut in the witr prayer is sunnah, is recommended, and there is a hadith narrated with regards to what the Prophet ﷺ used to say in the qunut. It shouldn't be long, it shouldn't be recited as if it is a form of Quran, as many people recite it with a melodious voice. They make it as a song or as a nasheed. It rather should be Al-Hasan ibn Ali narrated, may Allah be pleased with him and his father, that the Prophet ﷺ used to recite, Allahumma hdina fi man hadayt, wa afina fi man afayt, wa tawallana fi man tawallayt, etc. Reciting a very long qunut is not of the sunnah of anything. It is something that people basically invented, and it burdens many people in the prayer. They want to practice the sunnah and pray with the imam all the way until he finishes, but for some reason some imams recite such a long qunut, maybe equivalent to the time of the whole prayer. This is not the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The sixth question of Sister Aziza about sujudu as-sahw. Sujudu as-sahw. The two prostrations for forgetfulness. When to pray them, before or after we finish the salah. Of course, that has a detailed explanation. Like if you have missed something in the prayer, then you made it up or you remembered it, so you make the sujood before making taslim. If you have made something extra, like you prayed an extra rak'ah, then you pray the sujood after the taslim and you make another taslim. But either way, if a person doesn't know the detailed explanation and he or she happened to pray the two prostrations before taslim, after tashahhud and before taslim, or after the tashahhud and taslim, it is accepted and it is permissible. Sister Rahma from Egypt asked about the permissibility of determining the sex of the baby, the gender of the child. Is it permissible or not? It is true that Allah the Almighty stated in Surah Ash-Shura that He grants whomever He wills boys and He grants whomever He wills girls, and He makes whomever He wills have both boys and girls, and He makes whomever He wills sterile. لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض. Allah the Almighty explained that He grants whomever He wills. يهب لمن يشاء إناثا ويهب لمن يشاء الذكور أو يزوجهم ذكرانا وإناثا ويجعل من يشاء عقيما. I'll continue answering this question after this call, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Brother Umar from Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Ya Sheikh, Ramadan Kareem.
Barakallah feek. Ramadan Mubarak to you and to your family. Go ahead.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Sorry, Ya Sheikh, I asked a question last year, but when you answered the question the following day, I wasn't around. I traveled a while, but that is while praying, I asked that some used to hold their arms, while some used to leave their hands straight. And you answer the following day because there is no time. You say you answer the following day. But when you answer, I wasn't around. So I don't know which one is the right one.
Place the right on the left on top of your chest. Brother Umar, do not let your hands loose in the prayer, whether in the fard or the nafila. Was never narrated from the Prophet ﷺ. Put the right hand on the left hand on top of your chest. If you put it lower, that is permissible. There are different narrations, but this is the ideal situation. Jazakallahu khairan, Brother Umar from Nigeria. Back to Sister Rahma's question, because it's a very important question. So Allah the Almighty says in Surah Ash-Shura in the two consecutive ayahs 49 and 50, لِلَّهِ مُلْكُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ. To Allah belongs the domain of the heavens and the earth. He creates whatever He wills. يَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ إِنَاثًا. He grants whomever He wills girls, females. وَيَهَبُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ الذُّكُورِ. And He grants whomever He wills boys, males. أَوْ يُزَوِّجُهُمْ ذُكْرَانًا وَإِنَاثًا. And in many cases, Allah grants whomever He wills both boys and girls. وَيَجْعَلُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ عَقِيمًا. And sometimes He makes whomever He wills sterile. He made some of the prophets sterile. إِنَّهُ عَلِيمٌ قَدِيرٌ. What a combination of two of the most beautiful names of Allah. He's all-knowing and He's able to do all things. One should be happy and pleased with Allah's decree for him or her. If Allah give you a boy, a girl, they're all girls, they're all boys, alhamdulillah. This is all from Allah the Almighty. I don't want you to jump into conclusion. Just wait to the rest of the answer, but there are calls. I would like to take them as well. Nu'man from Qatar. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Nu'man.
Walaikum assalam.
Please, go ahead.
Yes, I have two questions. My first question is regarding the zakat. My husband has been paying my zakat for the past few years. I'm not working. So do I have to pay zakat by selling my jewelry, or he can continue to pay? Will the reward remain the same, or is it advisable that I sell my jewelry and I pay my zakat on my own?
Okay.
And my second question is, there is an organization in India, in Karnataka. It's known as IMA. It's an Islamic organization, and they deal with selling of jewelries. So they ask us to invest in them, and they give you a variable return every month. So basically, for 1 lakh rupees, you might get like 3% to 5% every month return. So is this permissible? They claim that they are investing only in gold. Is it permissible for us to invest in this sperm, or is there any type of interest involved in this?
Okay, Sister Nu'man, the form that you've mentioned is very simplified. I will not be able to tell you halal or haram just simply by saying that somebody invests in gold, selling gold. Because in gold particular, it requires certain guidelines. The Prophet ﷺ said, for selling gold for gold, الذهب بالذهب. So it must be the same value of gold for an exchange of the same value of gold, yadan biyad. And on the spot, you give the old and you buy the new. For instance, this is just dealing with gold. If it is gold for any other currency, gold for silver, gold for cash, then the requirement will be on the spot. So I'm not sure whether these conditions are fulfilled or not. If they have a legal committee, they follow the guidance of the Sharia in this regard, and you trust their legal committee, and they say, what we do is we give you a share of the profit. Because if any investment on earth that you pay a certain amount and they guarantee you a specific amount of return, whether it is certain amount, like I will give you that much, then in this case this is definitely a form of usury. If it is an investment, sharaka or murabaha, partnership, or even mudaraba, in this case I get a percentage of the profit based on the profit loss. I share both in the profit and I share in the loss in case that there is a loss. But if I give my money to some firm, a person or a company, and they say we'll give you 6% guaranteed, okay, in this case the return is already predetermined. 6% of what? They do not give you 6% of your of the profit. They give you 6% of the capital sum, which means I'm already aware that beforehand when I put 100,000, I will get every month 6,000. This is pure riba, okay? But if they invest the money and they say we'll give you 6% of the profit because your partnership or your share is equivalent to that much, the percentage of the profit. So they sold the gold, they sold the silver, they invested in the market or in the currency exchange, and there is a profit. And you got the 6% of the profit that is permissible. But there was no profit, you get nothing. You encountered loss, the company encountered loss. So I will encounter loss which is equivalent to the same share or percentage of the profit in case that there was to be or there was going to be any profit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother Abdul Rashid from Libya.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Abdul Rashid.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Barakallahu feek, and same to you, Brother Abdul Rashid. May Allah bless you and your family.
My question is about zakat. Zakat will be paid for only poor Muslims or whether he's non-Muslim, you can pray for him or her.
Okay, got your question, Abdul Rashid.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sister Rahma, again the question about determining the gender of the child. So I quoted the ayah and I said, Allah the Almighty is Alim, Qadir. He knows best, having a boy or having a girl or having both boys and girls or not having any at all. This is good for you. You may say, no, I know it is good for me. This is not you, because you don't know the near future, let alone the far future. And you know the story of Al-Khadr when he killed the baby, the child, and he said that his parents were righteous and he was going to give them a hard time because he was going to be a disbeliever and wicked when he grows up. So Allah the Almighty decided to give them a better replacement and so on. So Allah knows best. But is it still permissible if I have an access to determine the gender of the child, like somebody whom Allah blessed with 6 girls? Until today in some cultures, even in North America, in America, a lot of families, they give preference to boys over girls. They love to have a boy. Okay? So after having 6 girls and have been trying, I would like to see a son to bear my name, to manage the business after my death, to take care of whatever. Is it permissible? It is permissible with conditions. Number one, that this is one of the reasons which may allow you to do that. But what are the conditions? Not exposing one's awrah. Not exposing one's awrah. As you all know that the process of the in vitro fertilization would require the woman to be exposed repeatedly before her doctor. If there was no need for the in vitro fertilization, she wouldn't have to go through that. Okay? Maybe only during giving birth. Or if she is following up with a female gynecologist. So it is very limited. Sometimes they have those nurses who would deliver the woman at the time of birth, and she would not be exposed to a male doctor whatsoever. The risk of mixing the the sexual discharge, whether the sperms or the eggs, through genetic engineering, yes, the scholars and the scientists manage to control the chromosomes, which will determine the gender of the baby. Okay, in many cases it is successful. But being exposed and exposing your awrah without a necessary reason, and also the risk of mixing one's sperm with others, is very dangerous. As you know that in the States a few years ago, there was a doctor who was arrested for, he has like a sperm bank and sperm donors, where people donate their sexual discharge so that he can inoculate them in women who would like to have babies without having a husband and so on. In this case, after a while, they found that this person, this doctor, happened to be the father of hundreds of kids, because the sexual discharge was only his. It is not permissible. Milk bank, sperm bank, egg bank, all of that is not permissible in Islam in order to maintain the family lineage. So if you fulfill these conditions, then it is permissible. Otherwise, one should be pleased with the decree and the decision of Allah. One doesn't know who is more beneficial for him. فعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا ويجعل الله فيه خيرا كثيرا وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. It may be that you dislike something while it is better for you, and you may like something and you favor it over others while it is harmful, it is bad, it is evil for you, and Allah knows and you know not. May Allah guide us to what is best. Brothers and sisters, we've come to the end of today's edition of your program Ask Huda. Until tomorrow, inshallah, I leave you all in the care and the protection of Allah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.